Kind of a light week, no Marvel, but we got some DC books. But unlike everyone else, I'm not a total hater on Boss Battle. Let's talk about the big two this week. Howdy, howdy, I'm American Texan, and I love comic books, the medium, the stories, the art. We'll let other channels deal with the drama. We're here to talk about the books and what's out now and what I'm reading so you can know what's good, and we can nerd out together in the comments at any point. By all means, let's talk about comics in the comments. And before we go over to the table to talk about what I read this week, don't forget we are doing a giveaway. We have surpassed 100 subscribers, so I will be doing a giveaway. I'm going to put together a little care package, and the way you enter is type in free 100 in the comics, FRE in the comments, type in FREE 100. Every video you can get an entry, and then at the end of the month I will do a big giveaway. I might do a couple just because I don't want one person to get it all, but in that giveaway we're gonna have a couple books here, such as Geiger Volume 1 and a deluxe hardcover of Junkyard Joe. So comment below, free 100. All right, let's go over to the table and let's talk about what I read from the big two this week. All right, so here's the books that I read this week, kind of a light stack. We got 3 main books from DC, and then I read both of the treasury-sized Superman and Spider-Man reprints that came out from the 70s and 80s, I believe. So looking at the modern comics first that came out last week, the big one that's on everyone's mind, both good and bad, but mostly bad this week, is Boss Battle, DCKO Boss Battle. This was the big crossover, multiverse crossover that people were excited for. We've got appearances from Sabrina, from, I think, Archie Comics, Annabelle from the movies, New Line Cinema. Then you got Mortal Kombat. You got, what's her name, Samantha Strong from Beneath the Trees Where Nobody Sees. This was highly anticipated, and I think people had really high expectations with this. It was really hyped and, dare I say, overhyped. So looking at the book, a lot of people are talking about the book, but you don't really see a lot of the inside. The art, I think, is really good. I mean, the fact that they're bringing different IPs together, and I think it's the same artist across the whole book. I think that was really well done and is often overlooked with this type of book. But the problem is that we have so many appearances, so many crossovers, so many characters, in fact, that are coming over that they basically had to revive or resurrect some of the DCKO combatants to have more people to fight against the crossover characters. I think that was the first mistake, is they just put way too many characters in this. I think I've heard it somewhere else. I can't remember where. I think might have been Weird Science or maybe Wakasashi's Tea House with Gray. I think they said, it would have been better if each of these crossovers had been its own individual issue. And I agree. All Fight Month with just a whole issue of Wonder Woman and Red Sonja would have been awesome. A whole issue with Vampirella and Batwoman. I don't know about Joker and Annabelle. I've never watched the Annabelle movies, whatever those came from. But I know the Batwoman one is the most of a letdown, because they basically only barely fight for 2 panels or 2 pages. So that's kind of where the issue is that almost all of these fights only take place over 3 to 4 pages. Also, Lex Luthor and Samantha Strong. Some people liked it. I didn't really care for that one. I don't know too much about Sabrina, the Teenage Witch. But yeah, Samantha Strong just goes feral there. And everyone was looking forward to Superman and Homelander. But, again, they only really got 4 pages. Like, just when it's about to set up, it's a beautiful panel there. It just goes on to the next fight. The next fight lasts for a couple pages, and then it goes on to the next fight. So you don't really see too much here. Like, this is it. This is all you get of Wonder Woman and Red Sonja. It's just these 4 pages. So I think it was overhyped. People had way too high expectations. It would have been cool if there had been some more interaction between all these folks, and there just wasn't. The scene setup, I think, was fine. What Jeremy Adams did with the limitations that he had, because there were quite a bit of limitations, I still think it was an enjoyable read. When I read this on Wednesday in the car after the comic shop, I knew it was going to be, I knew it was a little overhyped as soon as I read it. And I was like, wow, it would have been really nice if we had like an oversized issue, double-sized issue or something, because I wanted more of this. There just wasn't enough. It's kind of like I ordered a hamburger. I was expecting a hamburger, but I got a slider. It was still a good slider. It was still enjoyable, but it's not the hamburger that I wanted, So Boss Battle overall, 3.5, 4 out of 5. I still enjoyed it. I still had a good time. It's not going to sour me that I didn't get exactly what I wanted. I'll take responsibility for that. But overall, I would rather have this than nothing at all. Like, it's not that I wish that this didn't exist. Like, some of the all fight issues, I kind of wish they didn't exist from the Fight Month. And the kids are all fight. Like, I just did not care for that one at all. But this one I still enjoyed. So overall, 3.5, 4 out of 5, because the art was still really good with it. Knightfight number 4. This one caught me by surprise, actually, because I had underhyped it for myself. This whole Knightfight series felt like a little needless to me. So the whole idea, if you haven't been reading it, is the Heart of Apocalypse has resurrected Batman because Batman tried to cheat his way through the system or whatever to get multiple resurrections with his Omega suit or something. So the Heart of Apocalypse is punishing him. And then because Batman keeps passing the tests, so to speak, the Heart of Apocalypse is giving him the option to rejoin the tournament. And the whole time I'm thinking, why is the Heart of Apocalypse doing this? If it knows it's been cheated, why doesn't it just kick Batman out into the real world? Why does he just keep letting Batman try to fight his way or fight his way through these illusions that the Heart of Apocalypse is doing? So overall, I was kind of like, why is this even happening? Now, it does kind of explain it a little bit in this, and so we'll get into that. So this is written by Joshua Williamson and art by Dan Mora. The Mora art is great in this. I think the Mora art, because there isn't that much action and some of the action is very condensed, I think is the weakest in this issue, but it's still really good. He also goes a little bit more anime on this one, especially with the kiddos. You've got Alfred here and the big old anime eyes there. That didn't bother me. I saw on Twitter some people were mentioning that they didn't care for that. And then here's kind of the Heart of Apocalypse. I read it in the voice of the Mortal Kombat announcer guy. I think that's the voice to read it in. So you get a lot of talk and you get a lot of things here, and then they finally go into the battle, and then that's where you find out that maybe the Heart of Apocalypse wasn't so much testing Batman, but maybe training him to become more. And again, I have to ask the question, why? But at least we got an answer why. And it does end on a pretty good cliffhanger. Look at that. That's where the action really starts to shine, but we're already over halfway through the book. So this series definitely, or this issue definitely did elevate the entire series. I kind of wish some of the answers were given a little bit more ahead of time to make sense of all these books. Like just the whole time I'm reading 1, 2, and 3, I'm thinking, why is this even happening? Why is the Heart doing this? We finally get an answer. I think it's appropriate enough. The art in this is great. It does have a lot of heart. And I think this is the first time where Batman is, instead of fighting public perception, instead of fighting his internal conflict, instead of fighting the Bat family, instead of fighting himself, I think this is the first time where we see like Batman fighting for what his legacy could or should be. And I thought that was a really unique take on the character. So I do appreciate that was written. But Knightfight overall, again, I give it about a 4 out of 5. I enjoyed it. Do I think it was necessary? I actually think Boss Battle was more necessary than Knightfight. But overall, after the whole series is done now and we're getting into DCKO, I think DCKO will mean a little bit more for those that read Knightfight. I hope that's the case. Otherwise, this honestly might just be a pass for many people. And then we got Teen Titans Go, number 12. This one is just a good old, there's not too much more I can say. This is just a good old turn your brain off. It's just like watching the cartoon. This one was hilarious. I think it was one of the funniest ones. And this is all centered around Valentine's Day. And you've got Robin giving gifts to Starfire because we all know he's got a crush and she doesn't recognize it. So he dresses up as Cupid and they're just making fun of him in a diaper. And then we find out that Starfire has a secret admirer, or not a secret admirer, what's her name? Raven has a secret admirer. So they try to figure out who it is, and there's just funny jokes, funny antics. It's just hilarious. And there's even, I'm trying to find one specific joke in here that just really made me chuckle and laugh out loud. Here we go. It's like, when he catches the plushie, he finds out it's an actual demon, and he's like, "You're an actual demon? Who sent you? Baron Blood, the IRS?" And they're just like, "Oh, I just thought that was funny." That's just my type of humor. But overall, it was still a very fun issue. And honestly, with the lighter week that we had this week, it's going to be top 3 because it was just enjoyable. I know it's going to be good, and I know I'm going to enjoy it. For the trades this week, because I want to try to start reviewing trades. I didn't really have any trades, but might as well have been. I have the Treasury editions of Superman versus the Amazing Spider-Man. This is from 1970s, I think. And then Superman and the Amazing Spider-Man. This one's from 1981, I think. So I read both of these, and I've really enjoyed these. I really enjoyed the treasury-sized edition. And, of course, we're still dealing with kind of Silver Agey antics here, but this was a lot of fun. The art was great, really shines in this treasury-sized edition. And, of course, I love the newsprint that it comes with. And these books, they're like trades. You could sit down for an hour to get through this book. And I don't know. I'm curious how they make these... treasury size, because they're not adding anything, but it is wider. It's a wider view frame, so to speak. So I have no idea how they make these. I imagine they're adding more white space in the margins, but still, it looks really good. And so Lex Luthor does a good job in here, pitting the heroes against each other, and you get some fights between Superman and Spider-Man. This really is, look at that panel there. Superman versus Spider-Man. Really, really enjoyed that. I did not expect them to fight as much as they did in this one. And it just really shines in the Treasury edition. So I did enjoy that one. A little bit more, actually, I enjoyed Superman and Spider-Man. Now, actually, the cover, I definitely like the cover of this one much more. In fact, there's a little bonus in the back where they talk about how they came to this cover because they didn't want one hero to overdo or outshine the other hero on the cover, which makes sense. And this one was cool, too. I like this, that you got Dr. Doom behind Superman, Parasite behind Spider-Man. Another great cover, but less comic-y, right? It's that water paint, realistic style. This one I enjoyed a little bit more because it's got some great homages, and it's got more characters. It's got Dr. Doom, it's got Hulk, it's got Wonder Woman. I will say this, though. Dr. Doom, he gets too Shakespearean, I call it, because he just whenever he just talks so much. And in fact, he even has a thing here where he says, like, hey, I want you to make sure that you're recording everything I say, because everything I say is important. Then he goes into this monologue about how he hates mirrors and wants to destroy all the mirrors in the world. It's kind of funny. It's kind of funny how ridiculous it is. But there are some great panels in here. There's lots of homages and callbacks. They even call back to the 1970 comic where Spider-Man met Lois Lane. And I thought that was really clever. And there's also an homage to Amazing Fantasy, number 15, where they actually have Superman doing the pose. Here it is right here. They have Superman doing the pose from the Amazing Fantasy 15 issue where Spider-Man first appeared. So clever. Lots of little jokes like that. Is really enjoyable. And then they got Clark Kent working for the Daily Bugle, and they got Peter Parker working for the Daily Planet. I thought that was really good. So overall, just a lot of nice little homages, kind of little things here. You got Parker playing a prank on the sports guy. I can't remember his name. Never remember his name. But so it was really interesting. Now, it does get a little kind of bummy. Spider-Man does get a little down in the dumps a little bit, like he can't do anything right, even though he is being the hero in many situations. And then we finally get the plan. The plan actually makes sense with how convoluted it is and all the different things we're seeing happen. But overall, man, I really, really enjoyed these. These are such a blast. Even though I had a super busy weekend just dealing with a lot of family things, when I finally got to sit down and read these 2 issues this week, it was a great break. I didn't have to worry about things happening in the world. I didn't have to worry about, get reminded about things that I see already on Twitter and everything. It was just good, classic action adventures, which is just what I love about comic books. So both of these were fantastic. So top 3 of the week. Actually, you know what? They're going to be these 3 right here that I read. I did not read any Marvel this week. And so my top 3 of the week is going to be, I think Teen Titans Go number 3, Superman versus Spider-Man number 2, and then Superman and Spider-Man number 1. I love these treasuries. I have several of them. There's some I still don't have. Like I still don't have Superman versus the Flash or the Superman versus Muhammad Ali. After reading both of these this week, I think I want to go back to my comic shop and get them. I know my comic shop has a few of them. There's probably more that I don't know about. Maybe I'll get one a week, or, I usually try to get a trade a week, and maybe on the weeks that I don't have a trade pre-ordered, I'll get another Treasury Edition reprint. But these are my top 3 of the week. It was a super light week. I know a lot of folks are disappointed with what came out this week. I know next week's going to be a lot more fun. The week before that was pretty heavy as well, but I'm looking forward to what's to come. But for now, hey, I still enjoyed the things I read. It wasn't all the best, but I still enjoyed it. It wasn't like some weeks where you come out just hating comics. Like, it was still a good week. So there you have it. As far as what came out this week, just 3 modern books. And Boss Battle wasn't bad. Knightfight wasn't bad, but Teen Titans Go was the only one that I read it and actually really came out enjoying myself. And then again, if you do see these, I know they are expensive. These 2 books together are like $38, but they are a very entertaining read. And I could totally see myself when the power goes out or something like that. I would totally read these again. And of course, I would love my kids to read these as well. Thank you guys for watching. Again, comment free 100 to enter the giveaway, and I will be doing my Let's Talk Indies video next. So subscribe so you don't miss that. Thank you guys for watching. Like this video if you like this video, and I'll see y'all in the next one. Adios.